Hello everybody and welcome to episode 34 of my World of Warcraft Let's Play. Today we are doing a lot of things. We can go ahead and pick up the 71 silver that we have right here, and sadly this formula did not sell, but we can go ahead and try it again. We are currently in the town of South Shore, and I'm going to go ahead and pick up a variety of different quests here. So first of all, let's go ahead and run into the town hall here. You can go ahead and talk to the magistrate, and he says that I'm the new magistrate of South Shore, recently signed after the assassination of the previous magistrate. The assassins were never found, but through our investigations we're almost certain they were hired by the Syndicate, a group of thieves led by the villainous nobles of the now falling kingdom of Alterac. The Syndicate has a camp north of the Horde-occupied Dalaran Mill, and our last clues led to that camp. Slay the Syndicate members you find there. So we can go ahead and accept this quest, and then we can head up there and we can fight the Syndicate. And we also have a quest up there to fight some of the mountain lions, so I think that pairs up pretty well there. We also have this quest right here from this priest-looking fellow, and he says, "Hail and well met, Athos. I led a group of adventurers investigating odd happenings in this area. My cousin and Husband recently put down his dog Stanley because the animal mystically grew to an immense size and savagely attacked anyone who came near him. I believe the undead are involved, and we're looking for signs to prove as such. Two of my companions, Quay and Kinnerlery, headed to the Goshek farm in the Arathi Highlands and haven't checked in for days. Find them for me? I grow concerned." So we can go ahead and accept this quest, and for now I'm going to go ahead and head north, and we can deal with the Syndicate that are in the hills, as well as the mountain lions that are attacking South Shore and the various other areas around here. And then very soon we will be able to head to Arathi Highlands, and we will be able to go to the Goshek farm that we can see right there, and we can go ahead and find these two people and try to learn more about a mysterious plague that is arising. And we know from Warcraft 3 that the Scourge basically unleashed a plague upon Lordaeron, and that is the main reason why Lordaeron has fallen. And there are a ton of undead. Some undead are still under the control of Arthas the Lich King, who was a prince of Lordaeron, son of King Tyrannus Menethil, but he was corrupted during the events of Warcraft 3 and is now the Lich King that commands the undead armies. But some of those undead are known as the Forsaken, and they broke free of the bonds of the Lich King and they joined the Horde. And basically it seems like the Forsaken, who were once victims of the plague unleashed by the Scourge, are now creating their own plague and may one day unleash it upon their enemies. So that is an important story beat that we are going to be paying attention to going forward in the future. But now let's go ahead and pay attention towards the Syndicate, because this is a criminal organization that we are learning more about. And they are led by the nobles of Alterac. And we know throughout the history of Warcraft that Alterac has had a complicated past, where we know during the Second War, Alterac actually betrayed humanity to the orcs because they thought the orcs would beat all the human kingdoms. So the king gave up information about the Alliance and allowed the orcs passage through Alterac. But of course the Alliance beat back the orcs, and the Alliance remained in control of the kingdoms around here, and because of Alterac's treachery during the Second War, they were punished by the Alliance. And basically throughout the events of history that has transpired, Alterac has pretty much all but crumbled, but the remains of Alterac have basically generally formed into the Syndicate here that we see with the Syndicate footpath that we are now fighting, and are now led by the once nobles of the kingdom of Alterac. We have a giant camp of Syndicate here, and we will be able to fight our way through here. And you can see that there's actually some quests up here, because there are some foreboding plans and an encrypted letter on the table over there, so we can go ahead and gather some information about that. We have Henchman Valak here, which I don't think he really does anything. He's just a named NPC that we can fight. And it looks like there's a footpad coming up here, so let's go ahead and try to deal with this henchman really quickly before he calls for any help.
It's too far away.
And it looks like he's a little far away, so we might have to deal with this henchman, which is okay. Or footpad rather. There are a ton of footpads that are just patrolling around the camp here, so we need to be careful about them. These are some of the lowest level Syndicate mobs that we will be fighting, and it looks like I might have a little bit of an issue going on here. So I'm going to go ahead and try to escape this way a little bit. And it looks like I'm fighting 4 of them, so I want to get this last fire blast, and then I think I'm dead. Yep, and we can go ahead and run back, but at least I got the kill there. We can go ahead and return and loot the corpse. Back at this camp, we will mostly be fighting the Syndicate here in the Alterac Mountains. We are right on the outskirts of this zone, and we will also be fighting them in the Arathi Highlands. And I think they're kind of an interesting faction, not only lore-wise, but because they're kind of similar to the Defias Brotherhood, where they were kind of like once like more grand people in a way, where the Defias Brotherhood were once the stonemasons, and now they have kind of fallen from grace, where they were once the kingdom of Alterac, and now they have kind of basically fallen from grace into the Syndicate here. And instead of red leather bandanas like the Defias had, they now have orange leather bandanas, which kind of mark them as a completely separate faction, but still similar. The footpads and thieves that we are fighting are pretty low level, but we see that there's a Syndicate wizard right there that is level 35, and we're going to see as we progress further through this series that we're going to be fighting even more powerful Syndicate members than just this wizard right there. I am wanting to approach this camp, so let's go ahead and start with fighting this thief, and I think the wizard is going to attack us as well. So let's go ahead and try to kill this thief as fast as possible. And then I don't think that thief might be coming over here, and I might actually be dying. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to ice block, and I'm just going to think this through for a second. I have 1 health potion, so let's go ahead and use this quickly. And then let's go ahead and try to fight this wizard here. If he starts casting another fireball at us, I'm going to go ahead and use Dispel on him. And I'm going to hope that... Okay, let's go ahead and... Oh, he resisted the Dispel. But it looks like we might have the opportunity to finish him off here. He resisted... This is not good. I was so close. He just resisted my wand there, and I'm not entirely sure. I was dealing fire damage with the wand there, but he was able to resist those attacks. I'm going to go ahead and run back really quickly. Looks like this area is definitely a little bit tough for me right now. I'm about at level, but that wizard is definitely a little bit more powerful than me. Returning to this area, looks like there's 2 wizards now, and there are a bunch of the Syndicate that are respawning. So let's go ahead and reapproach this fight, and we might have to deal with both of these wizards now. And that footpad kind of looks like he's just chilling there. And then it looks like these 3 thieves slash footpads are wandering around, and this thief is kind of approaching. So I think we're kind of back at ground zero, and I'm going to go ahead and just sit here for a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and fight all these thieves again, and then we can reapproach the center of the camp, where now we have to fight 2 wizards. One's level 35, one's level 34, so we have some fighting ahead of us here. So I think I have taken care of all the patrols around here, and I now have this greater potion of healing, so I'll go ahead and just put that onto my bar there. And now I'm going to go ahead and try to fight these 2 Syndicate wizards here. I think I'll start with the man here on the left, because he is a higher level and I want to get him out of the situation here ASAP. And I think nothing is going to come along with him when I attack him. So I'm going to go ahead and cast a couple of frost bolts, cast a counter spell, and then cast a few more frost bolts, and then just throw in a fire blast as well. And it looks like this fight went much better than last time. I'll go ahead and restore my mana really quickly, and then we'll do the same exact thing to the other wizard. Looks like this thief just respawned right here, so I'll go ahead and take care of her really quickly. Looks like a footpad and a thief just respawned right here. These respawns are so fast, I'm not exactly sure what's going on. I think I might have to take care of all these mobs a little bit faster than I am right now, so let's go ahead and just start trying to ram our way through this camp. Okay, let's go ahead and try to take care of this wizard really quickly. I'll go ahead and do the same exact thing with throwing a counter spell that she resisted, which is very annoying. So I'm going to go ahead and try to just cast several more frostbolts here. 2 more, assuming she doesn't resist any. Oh, just 1 more. I got a critical hit there. So that wizard's taken care of. I think I'm just going to leave her body there without looting it, so she takes a little bit longer to respawn. I'm going to try to take care of this thief and that footpad really quickly. I think I'm going to try to just take care of both of them without restoring any health and mana, because I've been really going slow and careful on these wizards, but I think I just got to speed up the pace here a little bit. And speaking of getting punished for going slow, looks like another thief just respawned right behind us. So let's go ahead and try to take care of this one. I might have to go ahead and use this greater healing potion here. Didn't really want to do that there, but I don't think I had any other choice. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and try to take care of this footpad, and I'm gonna really hope that nothing spawns right here, and then I'm just gonna run in and I'm gonna pick up the quest, and then we can read the quest later because I do not want to deal with any other mobs respawning right here. So let's go ahead and come up to these Syndicate documents, go ahead and get these foreboding plans, and go ahead and get that encrypted letter. And now I'll go ahead and just start looting everything while running away, and then we can just stick around on the outskirts of this camp and to finish up the quests that we have to do here with the Syndicate footpads, and we can go ahead and read these 2 quests that we just picked up. So the encrypted letter that we picked up, it says that one of the letters on this table is encrypted and inscrutable, so we can go ahead and bring this to Lore Master Dibs. But then we have these foreboding plans here, and it says among these documents is a list of requested supplies. These include mundane items, food, weapons, clothing, as well as more exotic gear, masks, oil, poison. But what is most notable is the urgency of the request. These supplies are needed soon in order to undertake what is described in the document as an important mission against South Shore. So we can go ahead and bring these plans to the magistrate, but let's go ahead and finish off 2 more footpads so we can complete this quest. This is not a footpad that I needed for my quest. That is a little unfortunate there. He has some South Shore stout on him, so I'm going to go ahead and run back a little bit because I see this patrol coming in. And that was the last footpad that I needed for that quest, so that quest is completed, and all we have left are to fight the mountain lions for the costing minutes quest. But really quickly, I kind of want to just peek over here because we can see some horde flags off in the distance, and we can see a little bit of an encampment here in the Alterac mountains. And I'm not going to get too close because these horde are very high level and they will attack me, but we can see that there's a horde ward bringer right there, and there are some Terran Mo death guards, and some of these horde members are members of the Frostwolf clan. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this place right now. But the Frostwolf clan is one of the PvP factions within the horde. In Classic WoW, there are 3 factions because there are 3 different battlegrounds, and each faction is connected to one battleground. So a long time ago in this Let's Play series, we explored the Silverwing Sentinels a little bit, but they are mostly in Kalimdor and Warsong Gulch, and that is the first battleground available in the game. But the Frostwolf clan are the horde belligerents in Alterac Valley, which is the 3rd battleground in the game. We actually passed by the entrance to the 2nd battleground when we were running through Arathi Highlands, but we'll talk more about that when we return there and look at everything in more depth. But the Frostwolf clan is really cool because it's one of the clans of orcs from Draenor, and you can see that they kind of made their home here in Azeroth, here in the Alterac Mountains. But the alliance counterpart to the Frostwolf clan are the Stormpike Guard, and we can go ahead and run over here actually, and I'll just fight some mountain lions on the way here, and you can see that there is some more syndicates here as well. But here is the Alliance entrance to Alterac Valley, and we can see that there are some South Shore guards here, and there are some members of the Stormpike Guard here, and we actually have a quest here that we could pick up from this Alliance Brigadier General 2 quest, and they are to fight in Arathi Basin and Warsong Gulch. But I am not currently planning on taking a look at battlegrounds, but that might be something we do in the future. But we have a Stormpike supply officer here that we currently cannot buy anything from, and then we can kind of see in here that there is a cave that we can go ahead and enter Alterac Valley from by talking to, I believe, Sergeant Durgan Stormpike right there. But that is as far as I'm going to go right now. There's actually a goblin here from Smokywood Pastures, which is kind of like a group of goblins that we see pop up all the time throughout like World of Warcraft as basically kind of like merchants. But we can buy high level food and water from this merchant, and we are currently not high level, so we're just going to ignore that for now. But back to fighting mountain lions, we can go ahead and continue fighting these. I need to fight 8 more of the Hulking mountain lions and then 7 more of the normal mountain lions in order to complete this quest, and we can go ahead and explore the areas around here as we do it. Hellsbrad Foothills and Alterac Mountains are 2 of my personal favorite zones, but I think they're really interesting to look at how they evolved over the years of WoW, where we see here in Vanilla WoW that they are 2 distinctly separate zones, and basically for both of these zones, the central quest hub is just one location, both located in Hellsbrad Foothills, that being South Shore and Terran Mill. But then we see in Cataclysm that these 2 zones actually combined, where Alterac Mountains is no longer a zone, and it just becomes Hellsbrad Foothills, which basically just covers both of these areas as a single zone. But also we see in Cataclysm that the Alliance no longer quest here, and it's mostly just the Horde that are questing here. which like overall all the changes to the zone that we see in Cataclysm are something that I don't particularly enjoy, and I think that's kind of something that for like me personally, with my opinions about questing and like the different versions of the game, I just don't enjoy it as much in the future versions of the game. And I think that's one of the aspects about Cataclysm that kind of ruined a lot of the game for me, where basically stuff that I enjoyed was kind of taken away from me, and then I was forced with like new things that I didn't enjoy as much, such as losing Hellsprout Foothills and Alterac Mountains. But fortunately now I, an old man at the age of 23, can return to classic WoW now, and I can enjoy these areas of the game, which is something that I personally really appreciate. I have now defeated all of the hulking mountain lions that I needed to defeat, and now all I have left is mountain lions, and there's just something kind of therapeutic about like shutting your brain off and just killing some mobs, grinding them, and getting some quests completed, or just not even doing quests and just fighting mobs and getting some experience. There's just something like very relaxing about it. And like sometimes I start thinking about like different things about like, you know, ranging from like what I want to eat tomorrow to like what I want to do with my entire life, and it's just like a very nice peaceful experience. And I think that's an aspect of like World of Warcraft where there's like a lot of issues with like the game and like the company that owns the game, but like overall there's just like a very unique aspect to this game that you can't really find with any other game, and that's like really kind of unfortunate that like this like specific algorithm hasn't really been met by any other game, at least games that I know of, because that is definitely something I would like to see in the future, if there's ever a game that's able to be kind of like fill the same exact specific combination of like niches and like flavors and interests that like the classic versions of World of Warcraft are able to fill when it comes to like gameplay and questing and leveling and stuff like that, and then the systems of exploration and progression that exist in this game as well. We can see that there are kind of like 4 land peninsulas, or whatever you want to call them, which is a very prominent part of the Alterac Mountains, basically coming out into Hellsprout Foothills, which overall just adds a little bit of variety to this zone as well, because Hellsprout Foothills is overall like very flat, and then we can see here with these 4 little outcroppings that it becomes higher and higher into the mountains, and then it just continues going up a little bit more up into the snow-capped peaks of the Alterac Mountains, which we are not entering just yet. But yes, we can see that this is another area of the world that has snow. The last area that we saw that had snow was Dunmerle, which is the starting zone for the dwarves all the way down south in Khazmodan. I only need 1 more mountain lion, and then we can go ahead and turn these quests in that we currently have in our quest log, because we have just entered the area of the world known as Dalaran, and this is another one of the human kingdoms similar to Lordaeron and Alterac and Gilneas and all that stuff, which actually fell during the Third War. The Scourge and the Burning Legion basically attacked it and destroyed it all, but we can see that there are still some Dalaran citizens here and mages around here, and Dalaran is actually a really cool place, or Dalaran depending on how you pronounce it. I'm not actually sure what the actual pronunciation is, I just call it Dalaran, because Dalaran is a society of mages, and we see mages like Jaina Proudmoore or Kael'thas Sunstrider have very prominent backgrounds in this place, and we can kind of see with it being destroyed, the mages have put up a giant purple bubble around the city, and basically we have no idea what's going on inside. And one day we will basically figure that out, but that's not going to be until the 2nd expansion for this game. But for now, all we see are mages around here, which is actually a questing location for the Horde, funnily enough. And then beyond that, there's actually some stuff here that is relevant in the 1st expansion for doing some quests for a raid in that expansion. But beyond that, we just have a giant purple shield here, and we can see a bunch of ruined buildings here that once belonged to the kingdom, that it sits here on Lordaeron Lake here, and you can see way off in the distance there is actually the capital city of Lordaeron. And we will be exploring all these areas of Terrasfall Glades and Silver Pine Forest another time in a future Let's Play episode, if I ever get to that point. But for now, we can just see that Dalaran is here, very cool, and as a mage right now, this feels like a very important location for me. Another important piece of the road here is how that there are internment camps, and after the Second War, basically any of the orcs that were stranded in Azeroth were basically rounded up and interned in these camps here, such as the Orc Thrall, which we know from Warcraft 3 became the war chief of the Horde and currently resides on Kalimdor, but they were basically forced into these internment camps and basically worked as slaves. And now there aren't like really too many orcs left in internment camps, and they don't really exist or run anymore, but we have this internment camp here known as Lordaeron internment camp that is currently in control of the Dalaran shield guards here and the nation of Dalaran. And if we come into here, we can see that there are actually undead in here, forsaken members of the Horde, and they are currently interned in this camp. And the existence of these camps are definitely a moral and ethical gray area, and while members of the Horde definitely hate these camps, some members of the Alliance are in support of them, but some members of the Alliance are not. But overall, it's not too big of a story beat that exists in this game. And I guess while we are running back towards South Shore, we can go ahead and run through Hillsbrad Fields, which is a very big question location for the Horde here in Hillsbrad Foothills. You can see that there are a ton of Hillsbrad farmers and farmhands, and we can see that there are a bunch of other civilians and guards around here. This is basically a giant alliance town that still exists here in Hillsbrad Foothills, similar to like South Shore, but is consistently under attack by the Horde. And this is a spoiler for the third expansion. This place does eventually get taken over by the Horde and turned into something that's a little weird and gross. But beyond all that, we can go ahead and just leave this area and we can run along the road here, and I'll go ahead and return to South Shore where we have several quests to turn in. I think with the completion of these quests, we have basically completed all of the quests here in Hillsbrad Foothills. There might be a couple more that I am missing, but for the most part, this is all that we have going for us here. And in the next episode, I am planning on heading towards Arathi Highlands, and we can begin exploring that zone and the quests in that zone. And then when we return to South Shore, it will mostly be to focus on the Alterac Mountains, which I guess basically all the quests we did today were already in the Alterac Mountains. So we have basically completed Hillsbrad Foothills already before this episode. Nevertheless, let's go ahead and turn in these quests. Here we have the Syndicate plans, and the Magistrate says, "Thank you, Athos. Although they may still be lurking about, we hope that some of the thieves and footpads you slew were responsible for the last Magistrate's death. But even if they weren't, the Syndicate is a taint on this land and a stain on the human race. Their deaths are welcome in South Shore." And we can go ahead and pick up one of these two items. I'm going to go ahead and pick up the belt just to sell for some money. And then we can go ahead and deliver the Magistrate these documents. And he says, "These are very troubling, Athos. From the information in these documents and from the Syndicate's actions in the past, we must assume that band of cutthroats has waged war on South Shore. I fear the leadership behind the Syndicate is bent on South Shore's ruin. We must strike hard at these leaders before their plans are realized. Enter the ruins of Strombrad in the Alterac Mountains to the north. We think the Syndicate is using the area as a headquarters. We know this gang of cutthroats is run by former Alterac nobles. They may be hiding as normal Syndicate agents, but you'll know you've killed a noble by the signet ring he wears. Bring me those signet rings." So this is a level 36 quest, and we will be doing this several episodes from now once we are higher level. Let's go ahead and chat with Lore Master Dibs here, and we can go ahead and give him this encrypted letter. And he says, "What is this? Hold a moment, let me take a closer look. I've never before seen this form of encryption, but I must admit that my knowledge in that area is by no means complete. I have a colleague in Ironforge who may be able to help decrypt this letter. Go to the library in the Hall of Explorers in Ironforge and speak with Prospector Stormpike. Tell him I sent you and show him the letter. If there's anyone north of Blackrock Spire who can read this, it is he." So we can go ahead and return to Ironforge, and I might actually go ahead and do that really quickly because we have a portal there, and then we can just Hearthstone back to South Shore. But first, let's go ahead and turn in this Costly Menace quest here, and we can go ahead and choose one of these items. I'll just go ahead and pick this build again just to sell, and we have now completed the 4 quests that I had in my quest log there. And let's go ahead and use our teleport to Ironforge, and then I guess I'll go ahead and just use up some of the sailcloth that we have in the city really quickly as well. It looks like we got our first piece of Mage cloth while we were fighting the Syndicate, so that is very cool. Go ahead and clear out my inventory here, throw some things up on the auction house, do some tailoring, and now that we are at the Hall of Explorers, we can go ahead and talk to Prospector Stormpike right here, and we can go ahead and give him this letter that we found. And he says, "Encryption, a specialty of mine. Let me see here. I decrypted a letter, but I don't know what to make of it. You found this among thieves in the Alterac foothills. Very strange. You should take this to the Magistrate of South Shore. Although this letter is cryptic, he is the closest town to Alterac. The threat is brewing, then he should know." So we have this letter here, so let's go ahead and read this, and it says, "Greetings, Master. Forgive me for the method of sending this message. My shadow mages in Alterac are intent on their tasks of forcing me to use a foreign messenger conscripted from our new allies to bring you this report. But I have encrypted his letter with one of our most esoteric ciphers. His words are safe from these yokels. Our plans progress well. As mentioned, we made an alliance with a group of humans who call themselves the Syndicate. Its leaders were once the nobles of Alterac, and they crave to once again hold sway here. And so they have struck a bargain with us, a bargain they will regret. Today, the Syndicate holds little power in these lands, but they know the area well and have assembled sufficient manpower for the tasks ahead. With proper guiding, I am confident that soon the Syndicate will again rule Alterac. In addition, we have urged the Syndicate to aim for the city of Stromgarde in the nearby Arathi Highlands. This city is a battlefield between our forces, ogres, and the humans of Stromgarde, but we feel that with careful tactics we will own this once great city. And when this is done, the next stage of our plan will begin. With a nation of our own and a base of power in this region, we may then prepare the way for the third host. Soon, the Legion Lords will reward our work by raining fire from the skies once again. The council was wise to appoint you head of the Argus Wake, marshal of the strategies in the land of humans and dwarves, and I am honored to serve as the hand of your will in Alterac. In Sargeras' name, Nagaz, Argus Hierophant." So it seems the Syndicate are being used, manipulated by an organization known as the Argus Wake, and they seem to be some sort of cult that is trying to bring the Burning Legion, the minions of Sargeras, the fallen titan, here to Azeroth in order to basically conquer Eastern Kingdoms, or they're trying to conquer Eastern Kingdoms, or some sort of conquering of the Eastern Kingdoms and then the whole of Azeroth as well, and they're basically manipulating the Syndicate to do this job for them. So let's go ahead and return to South Shore, and we can go ahead and tell the Magistrate about what is going on. Here is the Magistrate. We can go ahead and inform him about this, and he says, "This is translated from a letter you found in a Syndicate encampment. This is not written by a thief or even a noble of Alterac. It appears the Syndicate has ties to another power, and I shudder to think what that might be. The letter you brought me was written by a being who calls himself Nagaz, a member of the Argus Wake. I don't know what this Argus Wake is, but they're in alliance with the Syndicate, then they must be a threat. I want you to find the Nagaz and the Argus Shadow Mages mentioned in that letter. I want you to find them and kill them. Search in the uplands where the Syndicate is strongest. It is north of Stromgarde. With luck, you'll find these envoys of the Argus Wake there." So we can go ahead and accept this quest, but this is a level 40 quest, so we will not be doing that for a long time. And as far as this episode goes, I'm going to go ahead and call it good here. I hope you all enjoyed watching this episode. Next episode, we will be heading to Arathi Highlands, and we will begin exploring that region of the world. But in the meantime, I hope you all are taking good care of yourselves. Remember to drink some water, check your posture, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time in the world of Azeroth. Goodbye.